Hey guys, and welcome back to Brexit. Brexit England, Northern Ireland, and Eastern Europe. And in Brexit England, because of you damn racist fools, a bag of shopping is costing you an extra £530 a year from last year. Our weekly our yearly shop has gone up by £530. That's not including the higher fuel cost or the higher utility cost, right? Or the higher cost on everything. This is down to you people, right? Voting against your own interest, voting for people who only set out to hurt you on a daily basis, right? Voting for people because they say nice things to you about immigration or the things you want to hear about immigration. Well, let me tell you, over 28 motherfucking thousand people have come over, right? They keep saying illegally. It's not illegally. Right? How these people are coming over to this country, it's not illegal. Right? It's not illegal to jump in a dinghy and come over here. But these people are telling you, oh no, it's illegal. Illegal crossings, right? And they've done shit all about it. Right? And when you look at it, just look at, right, the destruction, what they've done in this country, right? On the back of, right, them saying to you, we are going to control the blacks and the Asians. And anybody who speaks a funny language, we're going to control them for you. We're going to make sure that they're not in your face, blocking up all the hospitals, taking all your jobs, taking your fucking women. You people, there's something actually wrong with you. Seriously. There's something, I think, when you was born, the doctor, right, instead of smacking you on the backside, smacked you around the head. Right? Every single one of you racist fools. That's what must have happened to you. You must have got smacked around the head by the doctor, right? Yeah, at your birth. Right? And just smacked a racist gene in the back of your head. That's what must have happened. Right? Because you know something, yeah? You people have allowed, and it amazes me because, people like, Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, they're still so popular. Even though, right, they have, right, look, so we say an extra what? £530 on your shopping a year. Right? Plus the doubling of your utility costs. The doubling. Hold on. I think it's actually more than double. Right, no, hold on, no, because we went to 1900. We went to 1950, I think, isn't it? Right. So all right, that's near enough double to what it was, right? Because it was what that's just more near enough double to what it was. But now, obviously, the 2,500. Thank you very much, Liz. Right, that right is more than double, and that's down to you people being some racist motherfucking idiots. Right, with the racist gene, right, that's fucked this country up, right, and now, right, you're having to use food banks, because you know what, you decided to vote for people who are clowns, who have no clue how to run a country, and that's what you decided to do, because they say, ooh, nice things to you about immigration, we're going to get rid of the blacks, we're going to get rid of the Asians, right? We're not going to let nobody come over here and speak any foreign language. And we're going to hold all of the minimum wage jobs for you, because only you can do the minimum wage jobs. That's why people like McDonald's are offering apprenticeships. And welcome back to By Any Means Necessary. Thank you so much for all your messages sent me. And a special thanks to everybody who signed up to my channel. I feel so blessed with so much people that have signed up. So thank you so much for that. I'll go through all your messages. I'll answer as many as I can. But I will like all your messages for definite. Let's go to America. Because in America, they've got this critical race theory. And you realise, right, that the opposite of critical race theory, right, is for them to tell their children, oh, did you realize that slave owners was anti-slavery? Right. I want to move on from this story really quickly, but something's saying to me, stay here. Slave owners, anti-slavery. Okay. I mean, was the slaves anti being slaves, or was they happy as being slaves? Because you know, this we're not talking. We're not talking about pets here. We're talking about human beings. So it's got to be a two. With a human being, it's got to be a two-way street. I'm happy to be here. You're happy to have me here. Not, well, you'll stay here against you wanting to leave. Can't leave. That sounds more like a prison or slavery. But this is what they're trying to teach their children, that actually, no, slave owners, they say, well, are you really, is really, so, because these people are very touchy people. So, are you really going to actually, because, well, I don't know. I don't know. If that's what you're going to teach your children, that's what you're going to teach your children. Do you know what I mean? Because they're going to, obviously, yeah, there is going to be a real learning lesson, yeah, further on in their lives. There's going to be a real learning lesson. Like when when you try and teach your children, right? You know what? Because you're white, you're better than those blacks, right? You can beat them in, right? You run in, jump in, anything you can beat them in. And then when they bust your ass on the athletics pitch, right, field, right, or right, they bust your ass in a maths lesson or science lesson, right, then you're like, oh, but Dad told me I'm better than them. See? So you're teaching, they want to teach their children, oh, well, slavery, didn't really happen. That's where this is hoping to go, because these people are so, oh well, you're blaming us for slavery. I said, well, was you alive then? Was you, this is the thing, was you alive? Because we are aggrieved by it, the whole slavery thing. I still I'm still upset with, if there is a God, I'm still upset with him over the whole slavery thing and the Holocaust as well. I'm upset with him over those two things in particular, right? Because I said, well, what happened to you? Where was you when these things was going on? What happened? So if there is a God, do you know what I mean? Let him know that I'm very disappointed with him over slavery and the Holocaust. But I mean, teaching the children that that the slave owners was anti-slavery. I mean, you say, well, good luck with that, because these people, they're so tetchy, and what they're saying is, well, you are blaming our children because they're white. Okay, I don't know how you got there, but I don't even know how they. Something. I'm not even going to try and get to how they got there, because I have no clue how they got there. But let's move on. Right. Yes, there was the funeral of 12-year-old Archie Battersby. Right now, that his case should be a warning to all parents. Yeah, about these internet challenges, because there's a lot of kids out there and they're doing these internet challenges when they're at home by themselves, and obviously that's what's happened to him. That's what they think's happened to him. That he was doing one of these internet challenges and somehow he's managed to kill himself doing it, because I know a lot of these people do a lot of these things that asphyxiating themselves and all that. You know what I mean? So they're basically strangling themselves. You know what I mean? Till they pass out. So, and all that type of thing. So I mean, it's one thing, having an internet challenge where you pour a bucket of water over your head, You know, that's something, you know. But when some of these other ones, they seem to be very, very dangerous. So you have to watch. You know, each parent have to really watch out for their kids and make sure their kids are not getting up to that shit. Right? Electric scooters are going to be banned in Kent. And say, Kent have enough problems as it is. I'm sure them people overvoted. I should have looked up the stats, how they voted in the referendum, but I'm sure they voted, yeah. I'm sure it was like 80 something, or I'm sure it was very high, 70 or 80%, right, percentage wise, what they voted. So Kent have got other problems to worry about. They should be worrying about the piss and shit that's landing in people's gardens, right? About they want to go and ban one of the greenest, right, forms of transport that has come out, right, for the longest of time, right? Because, you know, they said that an old woman did fall down. You know, someone must have, I think they knocked her over on the scooter and she fell over and she must have broke her wrist and bust her chin. Right? So now they're saying, well, we want them all banned from Kent. We want them all banned. And say, well, yes, you know, in this country, yeah, it seems to be moving backwards, right? Because although I don't use a scooter myself, right, and right, I would probably prefer to lose a small finger than have to use a scooter every day. But they seem to be a very good mode of transport. And I have had a go on one because one of my friends has got one. So I have had a go on one, and they are really quick. When you get on them, things are really, really quick. But for me, right, riding around, right, you know, with a lack of metal around you, right, doesn't seem to me very sensible. Right? I prefer to have as much metal wrapped around me as I can. Right? Rather than going around on a bicycle or a scooter, right? Or something else, right, that leaves my body, right, open to cars, lorries and vans and coaches and even milk carts. So yes, they're banning scooters. You know what I mean? These people in Kent, they got some real problems. A police officer has been placed on suspension after shooting a black man dead. Chris Cabot, who was shot dead by police. His family have been calling for this from ever since it happened. They're actually asking for the body cam to be released as well. You know, which, you know, I agree with you. You know, it should be released. You know what I mean? But, you know, I mean, I don't know. You know, I don't know what it's going to show, because I mean, if it, you know, what it's going to show that that's going to make me change my mind on this being a murder. I mean, if you know, if it's a case where, you know, he's driving his car at a police officer and the police officer's, you know, he's got no option because he can't dive out of the way, right? Or he's trapped in the door or something like that. Do you know what I mean? And, you know, and so he's got no option because, you know, if he doesn't stop him, then, you know, then the car's going to kill him. You know, I mean, if that's shown on there, then, you know, I say, well, obviously it's going to be justified, because, you know, if you're in that situation, like you say, you're trapped in the door and someone's just about to reverse the door back, and you're going to be, and you can see, well, I'm in between a post and a door, right? And if that person does that, I'm dead. And you've got a gun, then you're going to shoot their ass, isn't it? I mean, what else are you going to do? Right. So I mean, if we're in that type of situation where the police officer, where we can see, well, we can look and say, well, this police officer, he was in genuine fear of his life. Right. But you see, you got to remember, yeah, that as black people, we can't even do that. Right. Let alone get out of the car with your mobile phone in your hand. Right. You say you get in the car with your mobile phone in your hand. Oh, gun, boom, that's you, done. So well, yeah, because, you know, I keep saying to people, yeah, people think, because, like, you know, you think you should look at this, yeah, as this is just a man being shot, right? Not as a black man being shot, just a man being shot by the police. Because you've got to understand, when they shoot people, right? You know, let's talk. You know, we should talk about the guy with the chair leg in the back. Right? Because remember, he's a white guy now. Alright. Even though, right, you can look and say, well, yeah, but that could be a justified killing. Because what's happened, right, is this guy has been challenged by the police. I think they've challenged him from behind. So they've gone behind, armed police, get on, right. And then at that point, they must obviously, they normally shout, put the gun down, you know what I mean, because he's got a bag, right. And these police believe that in that bag is a shotgun, right, because somehow, right, the people from the pub that this guy's just come out of, they believe that he's got a shotgun in that bag. Whether or not he's told them that, or whether they've just thought that, they've just assumed. But obviously, assumption is like 99% of all fuck-ups. So if they've assumed it, right, then that's terrible. If he's told them, then that's stupid. Right, especially if he hasn't said to them, look, I was only joking. As he's walking up, I was only joking. It's a chair leg in here. Right, so the police have challenged him now, and what you've got to remember about this whole scenario, yeah, is that this guy is half cut because he's just come out of the pub, okay, and he's been challenged from behind, and these police officers, shouted from behind. Now, I probably think that this guy has probably thought to himself, it's a couple of my mates just messing about. I've just come out of the pub. A couple of my mates just messed about, and he's turned round and he's levelled the bag at these police officers. So they've shot him dead, because obviously they've been told that he's got a shotgun in there, right? Plus, right, he's levelled his bag at them as they've challenged him, right? Which obviously is not a good thing to do, because if I think that if he was black, right, he wouldn't have levelled the bag at him. They probably would have shot him dead anyway, but I don't think he would have levelled the bag at them. Because I think that's something that we would take much more serious. Hearing like someone shout armed police, right? For white people it works out a lot different, because your relationship with the police and our relationship is completely different. We have two different relationships. It's like we live on two different planets when it comes to relationship with the police. You guys have white privilege when it comes down to the police. We get no privilege. Right, but right, that is the only white privilege you get. There's no others, right? That's it, right? Now, so as I said, this guy, so I remember he's half cut now, and now they've shot him dead, right? But we have to say, well, hold on a minute. Our police officers in this country are some of the most highly trained motherfucking armed police officers anywhere in the world, right? Because I know for a fact that's true, right? Because I've seen these guys in action, right? And I've been stopped by these guys before, and I'm still here to tell the tale, right? So, right, and I've seen one. I see one time what these armed police officers, two uniformed armed police officers, right? They must have got a call, and they was in Peckham, right? One of the greatest areas in London. I love Peckham. I would love to live in Peckham, right? One of the greatest areas in London, right? So these guys, right, they got a call that there was some youths who had what appeared to be a gun. Right, so these police officers, right, have gone, right, down the back streets of Peckham, and right, where all the estates and all that are. So you know that that's all down there. It's proper murky around there, and they've challenged these kids, like, because these people must have been 15, 16, 17, right, and with that, right, one of the kids, right, has pulled out, right, what appears to be a gun, right, and he's gone to point it at this police officer. But this police officer is pretty close to him, and this police officer, right, has done a karate kick, and he's kicked it out of his hands. Right, that's what I tell you. These guys are highly trained, because he had every right to shoot this guy's ass, right? But right, what the gun was, it was a lighter. Because remember, back in the day, they used to do for some reason they would do the cigarette lighter, right, in a full gun size, and you think to yourself, well, that's just fucking crazy, because these things actually did look like guns. Do you know what I mean? So we just say, well, but this police officer, that's what he done in that situation. I remember about like the guy with the chair leg. The police officers that he's dealing with, right, they've got on body armor as well. I know it doesn't help if you get shot in the face, but most people don't attempt to shoot you in the face, Right? Most people try and shoot you in the chest, so they've got on body armor, right? And they're going up against someone who they know is going to be unskilled with a gun, right? So, before they start to discharge their weapons, with their training should really kick in. So we know they're highly trained. They did get away with this. Another one they got away with, but we know that these are highly trained. These are highly trained officers, right? So right, they're not allowed to make mistakes. They're not allowed to make mistakes. That's it, right? Because when they make a mistake, somebody dies. So that's why they're not allowed to make a mistake. But these guys, a lot of these armed police officers, right, they'll start throwing their toys out the pram. Oh, well, we're not carrying firearms, and if we're not allowed to go around and murder black men just like willy nilly, we're not going to carry firearms. You can forget it. We're going to hand our firearms back in. Right? That's what they do. Right? Even though when they kill someone, when they murder someone, right, these guys are allowed to sit around the table, right, and all write their statement together. That's what they're allowed to do. So everything's nicely in sync, right? That's what they're allowed to do, right? But it's kind of madness, you know what I mean? But as I said, they're not allowed to make any mistakes. So we'll have to see how that situation plays out. But let's hope this police officer is charged and he ends up in prison for the rest of his life. Prince Charles has given redundancy notices to 100 members of his staff at Clarence House, and people. Oh, goddamn noise out there, and people are really pissed off about it because they're saying, well, they're doing it right, in the times of mourning, right? The woman hasn't even been put in the ground yet. People are still viewing, right? And Prince Charles said, you know what, 100 of you have to go. The police, have been arresting quite a few people over demonstrating over, because there's been a few, a man named Stephen Hill, he said, "Not my king," right? And his ass was promptly taken away, right? And then I believe a woman in Scotland was arrested, and a man in, so there's been quite a few people arrested, right? But, because people think to themselves, you're allowed to not support the royals. Nope. You get crucified in the media, crucified. But I'm looking at this situation here, what we're in now, and let me tell you this, right? You can forget your Republican ass. Forget it. You're looking at fucking 1,000 years of fucking history here. Right, and the more people see this, right, is the more people like it, because you know what, it appears to make Britain stand out, even though Britain has denied what they're doing to many countries around the world. Many countries, right, don't have, their history has been torn apart by the British, but the British still have theirs. Right. So they're going to really, so you can forget it. Right. Listen, I'm a Republican, right? But I know, right, when you're fighting a losing battle, you're fighting a battle that's already lost. Like the miners fighting a battle lost. It's done. Right. You might as well forget it, right? Because this country will never ever be a republic. Never. It's never ever going to happen. As I said, you're looking at 1,000 years of history. Other countries, right, can't do what this country is doing, right? Nobody can do this pomp and this pageantry as well as us. Nobody can do it as well. Do you know what I mean? So that's why this country will never be. And if you look at how much more popular the royal family are right now, they're much more popular. They're very, very popular at this particular time. So, and people are seeing all of this as well. It's going down really, really well, because you've got a lot of children that are being brought up, now seeing this. Right, and again, they're going to see. Remember, again, right, they're going to see this again, right, within the next. Charles is 74, so within the next 25 years, they're going to see this again. They're going to see all of this again with the handover to William, right, and then someone who's pretty young, right, they're going to see this. They're going to see this 3 times. So now, William, and then they'll see George as well. right? Because remember, William is in William, yeah, is in his William's well into his 30s, isn't he? He's well into his 30s. So by the time, obviously, by the time he takes over in 20-25 years, right? You know, he's going to be, he's going to be close. He'll be closer to. He'll be well into his 50s. So he might even be close to 60. So he and then by the time he gets the throne, he might get 30, he might get 30 years. So someone who's really young will can see this 3 times this shit. So yes, as saying, a lot of people are being have been arrested, and a man was arrested, yeah, for shouting obscenities at the Grand Old Duke of York. What other family, yeah? Listen, that was the wrong time for him to shout obscenities at Andrew. Right? Don't matter what Andrew's done, it's the wrong time. The man's walking behind his mum's coffin, right? But what other family anywhere in the world, right, could have someone, right, who has had to pay 12 million or something like that, right, out to someone who they claim they've never met before? What other family could have that person walking behind the coffin live on TV in the world? Who? Where? Who? What other family? So, but as I said, the man was wrong to do. The man was wrong to do what he done. Right? Prince Harry is not allowed to wear any military gear at his grandmother's funeral. Right? Even though he's one of the only ones who's a real soldier out of a lot of them. Because he got to go and kill a lot of brown people in his Apache. And then, he gets to boast about it as well. Like them fucking sickos that you hear in America all the time, boasting of how much people they have murdered in places like Afghanistan. You've got a lot of soldiers over here who do the same thing. Do you know what I mean? Boast about how much people they have murdered in places like Afghanistan or Iraq. Just boasting about it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I've had like 50 kills. I've had 200 kills. Do you know what I mean? But that right there is you can have the privilege of knowing, it's not people who look like me that I'm murdering, so what does it really matter? But on the other hand, right, the Grand Old Duke of York, right, disgraced Prince Andrew is allowed to go in full military regalia. So Prince Harry can't go because you know what? I mean, what's the difference between these two people? I mean, one of them, right, was sleeping with underage women, right? Which means that was rape. But if a woman's underage and she can't consent, that's rape, right? Which means that's rape, right? And the other one was marry a black woman. That's all. That's all they done. Just married a black woman. This country is really sad to how this country is. This is really, really sad to how this country is. The Ukraine. Let's move over to the Ukraine actually, because the Ukraine have massive fight back the Ukraine are having against the Russians. Right, and 18 members of the Duma have come out and called for Putin to go. Come out and said, Putin, he needs to go. He needs to get the hell out of here. Say, you people want to mind that Putin don't invite you around his house for a cup of tea. Right, because these people seem to be speaking out of turn. I've never heard so much people from the Duma speak out of turn at one time like that. 18 of them come out and said that Putin has to go. Because you know what? I mean, the Ukrainians are really doing really well. And let's speak about some Brexit before I go. King Charles, I should say, has questioned the DUP about their stance on Brexit. So, what is your stance on Brexit, DUP? We want to be the same as England. because we do not understand politics. Why do you think their name is the DUP? Because they don't understand politics. So Prince Charles was questioning them about it, even though the man said, I'm going to keep out of politics. But his first opportunity, he's like, what are you doing about Brexit? So, oh dear. You think, well, I don't even know what the big argument. I just keep saying to these people, right? Listen, you've got your Brexit, just make it work. But they would prefer to keep on trying to fight us over it, because they know to themselves, well, if we can just keep on fighting you guys, then we can get the stupid, thick, racist idiots Brexiters, right, to just look the other way, right, when everything in this country has gone to pot. And I don't mean the kind you smoke. The trade gap between the UK and the EU is going bigger than a motherfucker, right? It is absolutely getting, we're being torn to pieces trade-wise, by countries all over the world now, because we haven't got anything to offer, unfortunately, right? Being in the EU, right, used to put us right at the head table all the time, but we haven't really got much to offer anymore. And the anti-Brexit campaigner, right, who has been described as a parasite and a scrounger by mainly Tory MPs, has hit back and called themselves some fascist motherfuckers. That's what Steve Bray said. Steve Bray said, because he was talking to Julie Hartley-Brewer. Julie Hartley-Brewer hates him, and he goes on her show quite regularly, and he just always cuss her off, and she really hates, right, the way how he just tell her off. And he's really good, Steve Bray, because obviously he's outside Parliament, he's in their face all the time, and you know what, they can't really take it. Anyway, guys, look, I'm going to wrap this video up because, I've gone on a bit longer than I wanted to, so I'm going to wrap this up quick time. This, my friends, is By Any Means Necessary. I'm JMC John Ribbs. It was really nice to speak to you guys. Comments below.